Hello, world. Welcome to Americana. I'm your host, Willie Montague. Tonight, the curtain comes down. The truths they hide, the deals, the power plays, the lives being shaped without your say. We are definitely exposing it all tonight. It's going to be fast, sharp, and unfiltered. Stay tuned. This is Americana. All right, well, coming up on today's show, it is definitely going to be some hot topics. We're talking about the immigration crisis, abortion in the black community, and we're talking about this debt ceiling. We are in a crisis in America with debt, and who is paying the price? And we have with us a very special guest, Russell Drake, someone who doesn't mince words. There's a lot coming up on today's episode, but before we get started, let's get into Willie's Take. All right, you guys, well, this is the part where I get to vent. And you know what I see? People playing small, settling for less, waiting for someone else to hand them success. Not here, and definitely not today. Life doesn't owe you a break. You earn it every single day. Look around you, distractions everywhere, noise, opinions, excuses. Let them talk, let them watch. You're moving forward, relentless. Fear is a liar. Doubt, it's weak. You're built for more, bigger, stronger, smarter. Stop waiting for the right moment. Create it. Stop hoping someone would notice. Make them watch. Stop following the crowd. Lead it. Your time, it's now. Your move, make it count. Every step, every action, every decision, because life doesn't pause. Life doesn't wait, and neither do winners. You want greatness, you grab it. No excuses, no apologies, no regrets. This is your moment. Take it, own it, run with it, and never, ever look back. Well, I am so glad to have with us today Mr. Russell Drake, a well-known community advocate, and we're getting ready to break down a very hot topic, which most people like to steer away from, which is abortion in the black communities. And so let's talk about this, because as we look at it, immigration crisis, if we look at it, last month alone, we had over 300,000 illegal aliens cross the U.S.-Mexico border. That's a new record. And in New York, they have $10 million per day just to house them. This is a problem. It's our schools, our hospital, small towns are overcrowded with this invasion, as I like to call it. So I'm turning it over to ask, what are we going to do about this invasion, Mr. Drake?
Yes. First, I want to thank you for having me, Willie. Thank you, and Afrotainment TV. It's interesting. You talked about a number of things. As far as immigration, personally, I don't know if these numbers are accurate. I know we got changed presidential administrations, and if you look at it through the Biden administration, there were a number of people who were deported for being here illegally, and there was no problem with the method they were doing. I think right now we've gotten into a frantic state where we're scaring families as well as workers who've been paying taxes, mind you, and I'm helping businesses thrive in not just Florida, but across the nation. But I think across the board right now, there's a frantic thing, and people may be sneaking into the border, but there are a lot of people fleeing for their lives because they're afraid of being put in places.
Let me pause right there. I don't know the people that are fleeing. I definitely know that they're crossing the border illegally. I don't know about fleeing out of here. And if it is indeed something that has transpired, that has changed, as you're saying that there was deportation that's taken place, these people whether they're paying taxes or not, if I go buy a bag of popcorn, I'm paying taxes. So I don't know if that counts as actually paying taxes or they're just doing what normal people do when you go to the grocery store. But they are definitely taking up resources that can be allocated to the actual American citizens that are here. So what is your take on that? Because I don't see no mass exodus of people who are crossing the border. I see them getting in here more and more. So what do we say with that when the numbers don't equal that?
Again, I don't think we have the accurate numbers. If you look at it just in Florida right now, there are a number of construction sites that don't have the people to complete the work that they should have been doing, right, along the way. Some people are just in fear because they think they may just get persecuted because of the tone of their skin or the language they speak or the accents they have. So we haven't seen, to me, factual data on this immigration issue as people said it. I mean, there are so many allegations of people crossing the border, but the crisis, I think, is more manufactured for political gain. I think what we need.
So you think that the cartel, the drugs that are coming over with the fentanyl, and all of the gang rape is manufactured?
I do. Think a number of it is manufactured.
Have you been to the border?
No.
I've been to the border, and I don't see nothing manufactured at the border. I literally see that these are gaps that we need to see, even though we're not a border state. In the state of Florida, you see an increased number of human trafficking as well as drugs, but it's coming from these individuals who are crossing the border. And I think that, we got to look at it that way. We have a border crisis and we need to secure the border. I'm all for people doing the right thing, but this is not the right thing. That's why I'm saying it's an evasion. It's an evasion to those who are working hard every single day. And, this is not about us turning over a job to somebody else because we don't want to do it. It's about them just being handed things because they don't work for it. So what are you? How do you?
So you say they're invading the border. I mean, we live in Florida. Florida's the third largest state in the nation, right, by population. We have, about 24 million people who live in the state of Florida that are on record at least. And we don't know what will happen. We're halfway through the decade, and there are approximately 1,000 people moving to Orange County per week. I think in the state of Florida, 1,000 per day, right?
Well, don't go anywhere. We got to take a quick commercial break. So stay. You're with us for the whole time. So we have to take a quick commercial break. You guys do not go anywhere. We have with us none other than Russell Drake. When we come back, we're going to be breaking down everything about abortion in the Black community. This is Americana.
Now.
Well, welcome back. We're getting ready to definitely get into a hot topic. But once again, we have with us very special guest, Mr. Russell Drake. But we're getting ready to get into a hot topic, and it is abortion. Abortion is just not a statistic. Black women undergo abortions at nearly 4 times the rate of white women, yet over 57% live in states where extreme restrictions. But this is where the problem comes in. Is it something that is being pushed as a narrative since the beginning of Margaret Sanger with Planned Parenthood? And why is it that is no protection for the unborn? So what are you seeing, Mr. Drake, and why are Black women facing 4 times the abortion rate?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm a pro-choice person where I think people should have their choice. That doesn't mean I am pro-abortion. I just think people need to make the choice that's best for them. I think, unfortunately, in our communities, we see more Black people having these abortions because they know they aren't able to economically sustain raising a child in today's environment. There's so many things set up against them for when the child is born, from how they're going to take care of the child, providing, and many of them having multiple children, perhaps not even having a father in their life to help compensate. So people are doing this. And I want to say these are the known facts, but we know there are other people having abortions that aren't on record at all. So
But yeah, well,
I think
we're dealing with the black part, because this is where I have an issue, because we talk about, and I get it, people say they're pro-choice, not necessarily pro-abortion, but for me, when we talk about being pro-choice, that means that you are giving an option and saying that this person, if they want to choose to kill their baby, that they have the right to do so. Because it's not just painting it pretty about the medical care or health care, because we know that statistically less than 1% is due to rape or incest. So the 99% of these black women who are getting abortion is just leisure, because they don't want to close their legs. What do we say about that as a black culture, who do not, one, preach abstinence or preach that you need to get married and have children, versus going out there and saying, let me spread my legs open, and when I don't want a child, I'm gonna go out there and just kill the baby?
I'm not the judge or jury. I don't have a heaven or hell for anybody to go in. At the end of the day, people make their own beds and they got to lay in it when we make these decisions. Effective decision making is what we pray people, utilize when they're conceiving a child, or going into having sexual relations, or just going into relationships or getting married, or even just consideration of it. There are a lot of people who cheerlead that make choices that aren't the best overall. And also there are people that do have different health challenges when they're trying to conceive or give birth to a child. So there are a lot of elements being built up. Again, I'm not, it's like, I think people have to make the choice that they feel is best for them. I'm a man. I can't birth a child. I got no business telling a woman what she can or cannot do. I just pray that they make the best decision.
And I've heard that a lot from, I think we do, because it takes a man to be able to have a baby. But talking about, when we was talking about earlier in the first topic, we was talking about immigration. And so when we see those resources quickly allocated for those who illegally cross the border, such as EBT, welfare systems that are running to house them, $10 million that is a day used for illegals in New York, why can those resources not be reallocated to saving black babies? Because even though abortion is widespread, it's not just a black thing, but we see that it is disproportionately affecting black communities. We had a whole woman who opened up a whole fund and organization to exterminate a black race, and here we are with so many people that walk down the street, Black Lives Matter, let's go out, black, for the black, pro-black, but we don't advocate for people saving their babies. That's what bothers me. And what did you say about that? The resources that could be used for illegals, and then we're not using them for resources, because you're saying there's not enough resources with people having multiple children. Well, snatch those resources away from those people crossing the border and give them to these black women, so we can have more larger black percentages of kids born that can be doctors or lawyers, attorneys, and sitting where you and I are. So what are your take on that?
Well, I wish it were that easy, right? As we know, even if you see money gets spent on what those in charge want, right? I mean, you see no different in Florida. Alligator Alcatraz comes up in 8 days or less. Where'd the money come from? Out of the thin air. It just came where it came from. So we have funds to help people. It's about, are we going to really allocate them there? If you're telling me that in deporting people, they'll save some funds to be able to divert it towards communities of lower income to help people with childcare and make better decisions, I'd love to see that. I know it's just not happening, though. It hasn't happened yet. Here we are in Florida, where there's a supermajority by the GOP in the state house and state senate. Nothing of the sort has been there. As a matter of fact, more social programs have been gutted in the state of Florida, as well as at the federal level. So, and it's not immigration, isn't it? That's not the cost. I mean, you see, we're dumping money overseas to people that are fighting wars that got nothing to do with us.
Correct, and I agree with that, but it goes back to the thing, if we're talking about a community, Mr. Drake, we're talking about a community of black individuals that are so pro-black, why have the community not band together to save black babies? That's the heart of it. We have people like, this is a community issue. It's not a government issue, because the government is always going to be the government. I'm all for limited government. I don't want the government to overreach, but it goes back to, again, when will the community, our black community, step up to the plate and say, even though I'm a man, we're here to protect, right? That should be the nature of it. I'm here to protect. I'm here to shield. Why are we not protecting these women and saying, hey, let's provide resources. Let's provide things that will protect these babies? Because if we are truly this this low percent of the population in the United States or the world, then wouldn't we want babies to be born so we can populate? That's the problem that I'm not seeing why we're easy to be pro-choice when we already saying that we have a low population.
So I understand that. So if I guess I haven't heard the cries from women to say, hey, this is where we need the support. I think your notions aren't bad at all. I mean, if women say this is where we really need the support, then as Black men and just the community overall, we should come to assist them. And I think in many cases we do, as we advocate in the community, we help those who ask for help. I mean, you can't receive help unless you ask for it more often than not, if you're not prepared to receive it. But I think many people, unfortunately, do look at the angle and say, hey, I'll just abort this pregnancy for whatever reason. Some is out of health concern, some is out of irresponsibility. Some is out of, like you said, that small percentage is out of rape and or incest. But overall, I still think it is just that woman's choice and that family's decision that they have to make overall. And again, we use the Bible to say biblically this shouldn't be occurring. But all sins ain't no sin bigger than the other one. And if
that's
we
true.
have these issues.
And before we move on, because I'm going to do that, because you said no sin is bigger than the other. But the thing is, we don't have to, just because it's not bigger than the other doesn't mean we have to feed into it. So if we know that there is, to me, it's just mass murder. It's we talk about mass incarceration. We talk about, not having funds and allocations for education in schools and projects and stuff. But we never talk about this mass murder that happens in Black communities. And so I'm just going to shift real fast. We're getting ready to get into this. I want to talk a little bit about the debt, and I'm pretty sure that you've seen it and noticed it. America loves to spend. Politicians on both sides are promising the world free programs, new infrastructure, endless aid overseas, which you had mentioned earlier. But there's a dirty secret. Nothing in this is free, as you know. And so with that being said, what are we doing when we're trillions of dollars in debt? Trillions of dollars in debt. Where do you think that we can be able to start cutting the spending down? Because what I see is, as I said, reallocating the resources. But what I see, especially within some of these inner city communities, is, defund the police, defund these things. That doesn't help us, regulating our budget. In fact, it actually causes more harm, and probably have to put more money out, because now we need resources to make sure that we're policing properly. So right now, the U.S. is $34 trillion in debt. That's over $100,000 per citizen. And right now, while we've been on this show, $45,000 every second is being spent. And that is what we're looking at. We're $34 trillion in debt. And our children, grandchildren, all into the future, probably the next 20, 30 years, is going to be born in debt. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, so, the debt has been an issue probably for the last 30 years, right? I think the last president to help balance that budget was probably President William Jefferson Clinton. And overall, we got to do two things. One, stop dumping all that money overseas, because we're dumping trillions overseas that, again, have not seen any tangible outcome on how it's benefiting America. If you got a president that keeps saying America first, why are you dumping that money overseas? That needs to end. And it probably goes before him and well, back to him, because he was the one before Biden, right? But it probably trickles back a good 30, maybe 50 years, arguably, that we've been giving money all over the world. And I understand the need for making an impact and socializing with other groups across the globe. However, we're just, bankrolling people, and that shouldn't occur. Then we have to look at how we're doing taxes. There's studies that show if the top 10 richest people in the United States were taxed just 2%, we could cover the bulk of that debt.
And I agree. So, we have an opportunity to do something major with shifting. And I know you mentioned about that. We're getting ready to have to wrap up the show. We're definitely going to bring you back So you'll stay near. But I definitely wanted to say that, I know we go back to the past administration and do that, but I definitely believe that all the way back to Obama, we had issues. But we'll get into that. Don't go to where Mr. Russell Drake. We're going to bring you back on the show. All right, you guys, we thank Mr. Drake for coming on to the show today and joining us with these hot topics. That's a wrap for today's Americana. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, only on AFRO TV. Until then, stay informed, stay engaged, and stay Americana. Thank you.